In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, peace be upon you. Why are men not circumcised in Saudi Arabia? I will tell you such a secret that you will be shocked. My husband told me something about Arab men that made me jump. How was this even possible? And when my husband told me the whole truth, I was left stunned. My name is Sara, and after completing my master's degree, I was overjoyed because I was getting married to Danish. Danish was my friend's brother, a very handsome and good-looking man. What impressed me the most was his job. Danish had been working in Saudi Arabia 4 years, and his earnings were so good that his family here was living a luxurious life. My friend Hina, out of love for me, proposed her brother's marriage to me, and my family accepted it without any hesitation because Hina was not only my friend but also a distant relative of my mother. My mother knew their circumstances well. Danish took a full 2-month leave from work and came to Pakistan for the wedding, and a week after his arrival we were married with great celebration. I had decided that on the wedding night I would cast such a spell of love on Danish that he wouldn't even think of living a moment without me, and I would leave with him for Saudi Arabia. On the wedding night, when Danish entered the room, he couldn't help but praise his sister's choice after seeing me. I also showed a lot of emotional attachment and showered him with my immense love. I just wanted to go to Saudi Arabia by any means. Had always wished to leave Pakistan and go abroad after marriage, and this wish was about to be fulfilled because of Danish. I spent some beautiful initial days with Danish. My in-laws were also very good people, but as Danish's departure approached, I told him that I wanted to go with him to Saudi Arabia. Hearing this, Danish gave me a deep look and said, "Sara, this is not possible at. It's better that you don't get such thoughts in your mind or you'll end up hurt." Hearing Danish's words, I lost my temper and said, "Why should I stay here without you? I want to go with you to Saudi Arabia." Danish gave me an angry look and said, "First of all, Sara, my mother will never agree to me taking you abroad. Secondly, the customs in Saudi Arabia are so different that you won't be able to adjust easily." Before I could argue more, his mother entered the room. Perhaps my loud voice had reached outside and she came in to see what was going on. When she asked, I told her that I wanted to go with Danish to Saudi Arabia. If my husband won't be here, what will I do staying here? Hearing this, the color on my mother-in-law's face changed, and she said, "Sara, you knew before the marriage that Danish wouldn't take you with him to Saudi Arabia. He works all day there. What will you do alone? In a foreign land, it's very hard for a woman to stay alone. And I've heard many strange things about the men there. You're not alone here. We're all with. We've also been enduring our son's absence for years, and you'll have to spend some time with us too. Once he has saved enough money, he will come back to you himself." Her words and tone made me realize that the real reason Danish wasn't taking me wasn't the people or the environment, or it was his mother. Her face had turned red with anger when I mentioned going. "I am Sara and I am very stubborn." I had decided to convince Danish I was his newlywed bride and he had to give into my love. Thinking this, I didn't argue with my mother-in-law, and at night tried to charm Danish with my love. After all, I married him only to go to Saudi Arabia. Otherwise, I had no shortage of proposals. I was beautiful, young, and could have easily found a good match. But the allure of going abroad and the wealth made me agree to marry Danish. Only 15 days were left for his departure, and in those 15 days I had completely enchanted him, and he started making all the arrangements to take me with him without informing his mother. He even got my documents ready on the day we were to leave for Saudi Arabia. He told his mother in the morning that he was taking me with him. The news struck her like lightning. She looked at me with hatred in her eyes and said, "Very nice. You've trapped my son." Well, she said a lot more, but I didn't bother to listen to her and went to my room to start packing. If I wasn't going to stay with her, then what did it matter what she said? Danish sat there trying to appease his mother. Ever since I insisted on going, Hina had also stopped talking to me. Never expected I would change so much. After marriage, I didn't even try hard to make up with her. After packing, when I went to tell Danish near his mother's room, I stopped outside upon hearing his mother's voice. She was talking about something and said, "You know what the issue there is. Your wife is young and beautiful. Why I'm saying, tell her everything, what the customs there are like and why. I don't want her to go with you. And if a child is born there, everything has to be done according to their customs, and in this way our child won't be raised according to our." Danish was assuring his mother that as soon as I got pregnant he would send me. Hearing this set me on fire. His mother had trapped him with her words. Didn't know which customs she was talking about that would trouble my children. Without calling Danish, I returned to my room and sat on the bed with a sulking face. Half an hour later, Danish entered and, seeing me like that, said, "Now what's wrong? You're coming with me now, aren't you? I'm taking you along even after making my mother angry, and you still have a long face." His words made me even angrier, and I said, "You're acting like you're doing me a favor by taking me with you. Your wife, and it's your duty to take me wherever you live. But you've already made up your mind that as soon as I get pregnant you will send me back at the time when I will need you the most." Danish held his head and said that there are certain compulsions of living abroad, due to which a person has to make such decisions. There is a big difference between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, and at the time of a child's birth we will have to face many problems. So I talked about sending you back. Only a few hours were left for the flight, and I didn't want to upset Danish the last moment, so I went quiet. Once I reached Saudi Arabia I would never think of returning again. Our flight was in the evening and I had arrived in Saudi Arabia with Danish. Stepping into his large apartment made me feel so happy. That dream which I had held in my eyes since childhood had finally come true. Got married and reached abroad. Stepping into Danish's spacious apartment filled my heart with joy. It was beautifully furnished, and for the first time, I felt the true taste of a luxurious life. I cooked dinner that night with great excitement, and Danish praised me a lot. For a few days, everything seemed like a dream come true. But soon I realized that Danish left early in the morning for work and returned late at night, so I spent the entire day alone in that apartment. At first, I tried to keep myself busy with cooking, cleaning, and watching television, but loneliness began to gnaw at me. There was no one to talk to, and being far from my family made me feel even more isolated. One day, while I was standing in the balcony, I noticed a young man from the neighboring building waving at me. His name was Kareem. He was also from Pakistan and lived there with a few friends. His smile and casual greetings became a routine, and slowly I found myself waiting for that moment each day. A few weeks later, Danish had to travel to another city for work for 2 days. Loneliness pressed heavily on me, and when I saw Kareem again, I gathered the courage to respond to his wave. The next day, while I was taking out the trash, he approached me casually and introduced himself. His words were friendly and comforting. That short conversation felt like fresh air after weeks of suffocation. Soon, Kareem and I began meeting secretly when Danish was at work. Kareem told me stories of Saudi life, of how strict their customs were, and how women often suffered silently. He also hinted at the biggest secret that shook me. He said, "Do you know, Sara, most men here, they are not circumcised. It's part of their culture. That's why many women face strange issues after marriage. Your husband may never admit it, but this is the truth." His words shocked me. Could this really be possible? My mind swirled with confusion, and when I asked Danish about it indirectly that night, he scolded me for talking nonsense. But Kareem's words kept echoing in my ears. Days turned into weeks, and my meetings with Kareem became frequent. He showered me with attention, gifts, and compliments that Danish no longer had time for. My heart began drifting away from my husband. Then one day, something happened that changed everything. I realized I was pregnant. When I told Danish, instead of being happy, his face turned pale. He said coldly, "Sara, I told you before. Once you're expecting, I'll have to send you back to Pakistan. Raising a child here is impossible according to their customs." His words crushed me. At a time when I needed his love and support the most, he was planning to abandon me. That night I cried endlessly. Kareem noticed my sadness and consoled me, whispering that he would always stand by me. In my vulnerable state, I clung to his promises. As the months passed, my relationship with Kareem deepened, while Danish grew more distant. He kept insisting that I prepare to return to Pakistan, but I resisted with all my strength. Then one evening, Danish came home earlier than usual and caught me talking with Kareem in the apartment. His face turned red with fury. He shouted my name, and in panic, I confessed everything. About my loneliness, about how he left me alone, and about Kareem. What followed was a storm I could never have imagined. Danish grabbed my arm and screamed, "You've destroyed my honor." His rage was uncontrollable. Kareem tried to intervene, but Danish pushed him away. The next morning, Danish called my family in Pakistan and told them everything. My world collapsed. Within days, I was sent back to Pakistan, disgraced and humiliated. My mother wept endlessly, and my father couldn't even look at me. Kareem cut all contact as if he had never known me, and Danish divorced me without hesitation. Today, as I sit in my room and recall everything, I realize how my stubbornness and greed for a foreign life ruined not just my marriage, but my entire future. I lost my husband, my dignity, and my peace. If only I had listened to my in-laws and accepted life with patience, I wouldn't be living with this unbearable regret.